Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Fortunate Z. If you are new here, thank you for joining me today and welcome yourself to the family officially by subscribing and hitting the like button. To my regular schmegular day ones, thank you for joining me again today. On today's video, like the title says, I'm going to be telling you guys the pros and cons of being an au pair. I have been getting questions on my DMs about being an au pair, what's it like, what's not to like, and everything like that. So I'm like, you know what, just not by answering one by one everybody, let me just do a very detailed video on the pros and cons of being an au pair. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. The first pro that I have for you guys is you get to experience a different country and a different culture. Growing up, I'm from South Africa, and growing up when I watch movies like Christmas movies, you see the houses decorated, the Christmas lights, the big trees, literally that's how it is during Christmas season, the snow, all of that. It's beautiful. Unfortunately for me, I don't get to experience it, just live through it, but just seeing the houses in the neighborhood and all of that, it's very nice. You feel like you're in a movie kind of, but not really. And then with other holidays like Halloween, people literally go all out on Halloween, guys. Costumes, makeup, the pumpkins, it's a whole thing. Literally the whole month of October is just centered around Halloween, the pumpkin spice, cinnamon spice, pumpkin muffins. You get to experience all of that. It's literally just the movies. Kids go trick-or-treating. It's literally amazing. And another holiday that we don't really celebrate where I'm from is Thanksgiving. Well, I've never celebrated it. Probably some people do, but I just never celebrated it. And here in America, it's a huge thing. Thanksgiving, there has to be a full turkey. You come together with your family. What is it about? I think it's about giving things to life, I guess. And it's just very nice because you get to experience all of that. Number two, you become very more independent, let me say. It kind of eases you a bit into adulthood because now you have to learn how to budget, how to handle your money, just living on your own. It's a little taste of adulthood, but then you're not staying on your own because the family, staying with the family, they basically pay your rent, your food, your phone bill. If you are lucky, they get to pay for your phone bill. But just handling your own money, making decisions for yourself regarding you, healthcare, going to the doctor by yourself, that's a whole other level of adulthood. You just become your own person. And literally the person that I was in 2017 before I came here, that's a totally different Fortunate. I'm more independent, able to stand on my own 2 feet, make decisions about how I want to spend my money, how much I'm saving, this and that. You really become your own person. Number 3, you learn a lot about yourself. I've learned a lot about myself because when you're at home, you're living with your mom, they kind of have an idea of what she's supposed to be. Or if you're around your family, everybody has an idea of what you are. And being away from home and being here, you actually learn a lot about yourself. Because honestly, the 2018 me wouldn't have been sitting here in front of a camera talking to you guys or anything like that. But I've learned to learn myself, learn what I like, my dislikes, and all of that. So that is a really pro about this whole au pair experience. Number 4, you make a difference in your host kid's life. With me, when I got here, my youngest kid was literally 7 months, and he's 2 now. And just to see him grow up, get a personality of his own, and somehow you get that feeling oh my gosh, I literally had a hand of shaping his personality right now. His manners, how he is, you literally have a hand. You teach them manners, you teach them from what we learned. I'm African, and I get to teach them a lot of African mannerisms that they didn't have when I got here. And it's nice knowing, okay, this child is probably going to take this with them their whole life. You're literally shaping their whole livelihood, and it's a nice feeling. helping other people, or just like knowing you're making a difference in someone's like life, it's very nice. Number 5, meeting new people and making friends. Like literally being an au pair, you meet new people, like people that you never, like that you would have never met if you did not do this au pair experience. Like you get friends from like Brazil, China, Germany, Poland, and like now one day when I go to these countries, I kind of hit them up and be like, yo, I'm in your neighborhood, what's up, you trying to link, you know. You get to make friends of a lifetime. And like I met one of my closest friends, she's actually right here right now and pointing to herself. But like without this whole au pair experience, I don't think we would have ever met. Thanks to this au pair experience, like we were able to like cross paths, and like, you know, she's gonna be my lifetime friend, and without it, like we would have never met, you know. So it's very nice like that. You get to meet your lifelong friends, and the kids, you get to be in their lives forever. If you do, you want to keep them in your life, but I'm definitely going to keep my kids in my life for like forever. Number 6, traveling. You get to travel and see a lot of states. With me, I was very lucky to get a family that likes traveling, and they get to take me to all trips that they go to, because I mean, I'm with the kids, I have to take care of the kids on these trips. But it's not that, like literally on these trips you don't feel like you're working, because you're going to see places, you're going to see landmarks, you're going to see historic sites. You see a whole different place that I don't think with my au pair budgets and salary I would have been able to go out and see all these places. If you do follow me on Instagram, I do have like highlights of all the places that I've been to, and maybe or maybe not would have been able to go to those places. So like traveling is very nice. But then if your family is not into like that whole traveling vibe or whatever, you can do that on your own. Like create a budget for yourself, plan a trip with your friends, do road trips. Like it's easy. Like you should use this experience for traveling. It's a traveling experience, so use it. It's very good for that. Number 7, you get to improve your English. If you're not from a country where they speak English, well, I'm lucky because South Africa in English it's a universal language. Even though we have like 12 official languages, English is the universal language. It's what we speak, it's what we're taught, it's how we learn, as we speak English on a regular. But if you are somebody that's from like China, France, Brazil, and all of those countries where English is not their first language, this whole American au pair experience really teaches you how to like learn English, you know, because now you have to communicate with your host kids. You have to communicate with them in English. You can't now come and start speaking in, what language do they speak in Brazil? I don't know. In Portuguese. You can't now come and start speaking to them in Portuguese, you know, you have to like speak to them in English and vice versa. So it's a very good way to improve your English. Number 8, it is the cheapest way to live abroad. Like by cheapest, I mean like you're not really finding your own apartment, place to stay. You're literally living in somebody's house. You don't get to pay rent. You don't get to pay for food. You don't pay for a phone bill if you are lucky like that. You literally, and you get to like earn money, you know, just by looking after kids and see whatever you want to see, you know, like go travel, do this, do that, make friends, like do everything you want to do, you know, and like you're in a different country, you know, like when people think of going to a different country, they don't have to like have arriving address, like what address are they going to. You need to have a certain amount of money in your bank account in order for you to like travel abroad. You need to do this, and this way with being an au pair, it's the cheapest way to do it. So yeah, if you ever think of like living abroad, like if you do want to experience a life abroad, definitely au pairing is the best way to go. So get on it. The last pro that I have is you get to be treated like a family member. You know, au pairing is a job, but then if you are lucky, well, I was lucky enough to be like, you feel like a family member, you know. They take me on their trips, like when they buy food, they ask you like at home, like, Mom, please make sure you get this type of cereal or whatever. You get to be treated like a family member. celebrate birthdays with them, celebrate the kids' birthdays, they celebrate your birthday. It's like it's very nice, you know. It's a nice feeling, like having a number two family. You're having a second family, number two family. A second family. Now I'm going to move on to our cons, because it's not all nice and rosy being an au pair, you know, like it's not all roses, butterflies, and sunflowers. Like there are cons to being an au pair. And sometimes like being treated like an employee. Like I just said now that if you are like, you get to be treated like a family member. But then there's also that thing of like a barrier between being an employee and being a family member. You know, you can't just get too comfortable in the family position because now this is work, this is your job. Like I feel like if you are going to do an interview with your family, just ask them about their experience with like previous au pairs. Like if they tell you like, oh, we take our au pairs with us to like vacations, then you get the sense of, oh, okay, I'm going to be treated like a family member. But then if your family is like, oh, you'll take your vacations, because you do get a 2 weeks paid vacation off, you'll take your vacations when we take ours. That simply tells you that they do not want you to be really that much into their family life. You understand? It's just work. So sometimes it's just like, ugh, I need to remember that I'm an employee, and that's on period. And I was gonna get employee of the month. Yes, I did that. Number 2, living with your boss. Guys, oh my gosh, this is the worst. Like living at a place you stay at. Like I did say that you're living for free, you're living rent free, but like living the same place where your boss stays at, because like now it's the weekend, you're trying to like just be in your own space, in your own vibe, in your own mindset. But like my boss is literally right next door, and like, you know, you can't really like make up excuses of not showing to work, because literally my boss will come right here and be like, hey, how you doing? And all of that, you know, like living with your boss is really not nice. Like it's not it. That's literally like, you have to think about that. If you are working, if you're a person that works right now and you have had experiences of having an employer, just think, what would it be like if I lived with my employer? Like literally, like if you see them 9 to 5 every day at work, you're like, thank God, like I'm tired. You know, like you're like, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm not doing this right now. And then you have your weekend off. But then living here, it's like all the time. It's like all the time. You don't get a break from your boss. Even though you are part of the family, it's still your boss. You don't get a break. Number 3, always being on. And by being on, like I mean this in 2 ways. Like your mood always has to be, you always have to be on, man, because you're looking after kids, and you know, like it's kids. If you are in a bad mood, you cannot just come out and project that to your kids. You always have to be on. You always have to be happy. Your mood always to be on 100, no matter what you're going through, you know, like you always have to be on. And then the second, what I mean by also being on, like with work, you know, let's say I'm off, like you have to work 45 hours a week, 10 hours a day. So let's say my 10th hour is at 7, and then for some reason today we had like a long day, and by 7 we're only sitting down to have dinner, and I have to put them to bed. So now it's 7 and they're eating. I can't just now get up and walk away, you know. I have to like stay there, make sure that the kids eat and put them to bed. Like literally, it's like you always on. Or if like the one parent is busy with something and the one parent is there, they can just say, oh, Fortunate, can you come here and like help me dress up the kids, you know? Now I'm on. To them, it's just me helping out. But to me, it's like, okay, I'm working, because that's my job. Doing all those things for them is my job. So always being on is like a very huge con of all this. Number 4, being away from home, being away from your friends and family. With me transitioning, coming here, I actually didn't get homesickness. You know, not everybody is the same. Like I have friends that literally suffered from homesickness. Like they missed home, they wanted to go home, they cried every day in, day out. But with me, I actually never got to feel homesick. Maybe because my family, like I am treated like a family member. So it was just like I just moved in with another family, you know, they were my family. And I had friends. You get to have Aupair friends. Once you go to your first Aupair meeting, you meet friends there, you make friends. I had friends. Like, I just was not in the house all day feeling sorry for myself. Like, you know, you have to keep busy. And another thing that they suggest is that you join like a gym membership. That way you keep your mind busy, you keep your brain busy, because now if you're homesick, you're sitting in your room, you might end up just depressed, you know, like you need to be out doing something and everything. And if you feel like mentally you will not be able to handle being away from your mom right now, this is not it for you. You will break down and go home in the first 6 months. So literally you need to have a strong mindset. But funny enough, back home, like I literally wanted to be with my mom all the time. And for some reason people thought, oh, we're gonna see this one in 6 months, but I'm still here. Number 5, you get culture shock. Like moving here, you see how people live. Like, you know, when my host mom, I'll ask her to do something, like ask her, oh, can I have this? She's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, whatever. Like, why is she being so rude? You know, like, what does she mean? Whatever. Like, that is so rude. Like, you get to the way they talk, the language they use. Well, they speak in English, but then sometimes it's just like their phrases. Like, I would say like, may you please borrow me that? And she'd be like, you mean lend it to you? Because if I'm borrowing it to you, you're not going to bring it back. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, lend it to me, you know? And what other, like, it's very, like, their culture, the way they do things, like, they just don't care about things. Because even the kids, when I got here, my kids were wild, you guys. Like, you know, it's just the way they live, the way they just do things, the way they eat. Luckily, I have a very healthy family. They like healthy eating. But like, I would like just see with like other families, the portions, like even going to like a restaurant, guys. I remember the first time I got pizza was at the training school, the Aupair training school. It was so huge. Like, the slice was literally the size of my face. It was so huge because I'm used to my slices being this small, like a Debonnaise large pizza being this small or whatever. But like their portions is just so big. So big. Sorry, not big. So big. And like, yeah, you get all of that. Like, you get shocked, you know, like just the way they do things. Number 6, money talk. You guys, like literally, I remember when I went to the dollar store, I wanted to buy, what did I want to buy? Like holding spray. It was $1. Like literally, I went in there with $1 because it's the dollar store. And then the lady was like, oh, it's going to be one something. And then the girl I was with, she's like, oh, I forgot to tell you about takes. Like, guys, literally, you calculate something from, like, let's say you're, like, putting things in your cart, you're shopping, and you're just adding the items in your, on your calculator on your phone. You get to the till, the price is not what you got, because there's just, like, takes, and, like, you have to, like, deal with conversions. One thing I'll advise you is don't ever convert money, because you will never spend it. Because when you convert, let's say I'm converting like $6, that's like 70 something rand back home. That's a lot of money. I would never buy a McDonald's meal for 70 rand, you know. Like, the whole money talk is different. Like the tax and all of that, you have to get used to it. Like, sometimes, like, I think it took me, like, even the dimes, the quarters, like, I don't use pennies till this day, because I only know like half a quarter, like the 250. That's the only one I know. I know that if I put 4 of them together, it'll make $1. But going down further down than that, I don't even know what they are. I don't know why they exist, and like it still confuses me till now. Number 7, it's a very stressful job, you guys. Like, literally, you always have to think about like in somebody else other than yourself, you know, because you're literally parenting these kids. The parents, if like your parents, like my parents work from home, which is sometimes good, but like even though they do work from home, I'm parenting the kids 24/7. They literally just like, I don't know, see them when they run around and buy them things, because like you feel like a mom, like 24/7. When the kids get hurt, they'll rather come to you than go to their mom. Like in the morning, you're the first one they see. Like, literally, if I'm sick, it's stressful. It becomes a lot sometimes. So if you're not really strong mentally, if you don't know how to handle your emotions, how to handle yourself, this is going to be very stressful. You're going to end up like falling into depression and all of that. So just know who you are, or like just know how to handle like tough situations if you find yourself in a tiny space. Not that this job feels like you're suffocating. Well, it does sometimes. Like sometimes it just feels like, get me out of here. But you know, because we built like that. We built to handle all of this, you know, and not everybody's like that. But it's very stressful at times. You're literally a mom. So if you don't have a kid, you don't know what a mom is. Literally, you're gonna, like, now I'm honestly gonna need like a whole therapy session for 4 years before I have my own kids, because this job is stressful, guys. It's not really bap and fleece. Bap is bap, fleece is fleece. Like it's not. Number eight, it's exhausting work. Like literally, my work, let me tell you this. Like I just get them ready for school, they go to school, and then I sit at home the whole day with my 2-year-old. Like just sitting down. You get exhausted from that, guys. Like I'm not trying to sound funny or weird. Like literally, it's exhausting. Like by the end of the day, from just sitting down the whole day, you're like, whew, I had a long day. That was exhausting. You know, it's and also now you have, because if you have a 2-year-old child, you can't just like sit back and watch them play. You need to, like 2-5, like my age groups, you always constantly have to keep them entertained. You know, even though I'm sitting down, I have to find something for them to just to entertain them, because they're gonna get bored. They're gonna start fighting with each other. They're gonna start crying, being cranky, and all of that. You have to keep them engaged all the time, and it doesn't just exhaust you physically. Like mentally, you become exhausted. Like, yo, I am tired. I am drained. Okay, so like that's another con of this job. You get very, very exhausted, and like I'm sure they'll be asking themselves, like, what do you mean you're exhausted? Like you were sitting down the whole day. Like it's exhausting, you know. The last con that I have for you guys is being lonely and eventually making friends, because you are gonna make friends. Probably when you get here, let's say you are a very outgoing person back in your home country, wherever you're from, you're a very outgoing person, then you get here, obviously you're coming in a new country, you don't know anybody. The only people that you know is the family that you're going to stay with. It can get very lonely because you don't know anybody. Lucky for me, like I had family that stayed like an hour away, so like most of my weekends I would literally spend them with that family. And like it was nice because like the girl at that family is my age, so I literally knew people when I got here, so I wasn't like very lonely. Like I'll be like, okay, this weekend I don't want to be at home, I'm getting myself over there, you know. But like if you are here, you don't know anybody, you don't know people, it gets very lonely, and then you have to go through the whole stage of making friends. If you are a shy person, like making friends will be like very difficult for you. But like if you are going to be an au pair, you're going to have to go to your monthly meetings and everything. That's the best way and natural way for you to make friends. So yeah, that can get very tricky, of like being lonely and making friends, staying in your room the whole time. So yeah, if you are thinking about being an au pair, make sure you think about all these pros and cons that I just gave you. If you guys really like this au pair series thing, because I have seen that most of my views really do come from my au pair chats and au pair talks with my friend. So I'm decided to do like a whole series of an au pair questions that I usually get. If you guys have any more questions regarding au pairing and all of that, hit me up in the comment section down below and let me know if you want to see more videos regarding being an au pair and all of that, and I'll make videos answering all of you guys' questions. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, and leave a comment down below, you guys, so we can like have a whole conversation about au pairing, the pros and cons. Tell me your experiences if you are an au pair, if you were an au pair, and we can like just chat it up in the comment section. See you guys in my next video. Bye. Pretty girls. Yeah.